Welcome to an episode of Chat Sports Talk. You know, my name's Chad. Take a dive on sports. And sorry for the delay in this particular video. This video is, if you can't tell by the thumbnail, is the what if. It's my what if scenario kind of continuation of the previous video released dealing with what if the Power 5 went to 16, which is kind of a spun off of what the Pac-12 could do to expand, to help their footing and the powers to be. And this deals with the group. And I debated long and hard on how I wanted to do this. Do I keep them, do I move at 14? Do I move them to 16? Is it all 5? Do you start merging? I mean, there's a bunch of different scenarios I went through my head and try to figure out, okay, which are the best schools to pull up from here and there. And it really kind of, hard to really see where things kind of go and fall into place. And there's a lot of schools that are viable to move up, but that may not. And this is, like I said, this is just my opinion. One old man's rambling. You love it or hate it. Some people actually hate some of these ideas. Some people actually, kind of counter them with actual legitimate, counters that I think are very feasible in terms of certain scenarios happening. And some people are really passionate about their stance. And I'm really passionate about my stance. I've seen a couple of my comments. So we'll see how this one turns out. But before I dive into my madness, as is my mind, you could go ahead and give me a thumbs up, especially with content provider. Really please you two guys. Really helps promote the channel out. You also subscribe. A lot of you guys review my work, and a lot of you guys are subscribing more every day. And I love you all for doing that. Tell your friends, tell your family. Let's all come joy in this wondrous journey that is sports. So going back into this scenario of the group, I'm not just going to call it the group because I'm not going to spell anything. But I think you might already be spoiled already of what to do. Because I think how the Sun Belt is right now with their 14 members, I think it's a good standpoint. I think it's a good standpoint for the group to be at, getting to 14. That way they do a 3-5-5 model, which what the ACC is going to do with their setup. Scrapping the divisions and doing that, so that way their top 2 teams can battle off in Charlotte. And I like that concept. I think the SEC is possibly going to a similar format instead of doing the pod system, which I think they've already stated they're not doing. It's been brought to my attention a couple times already. They're not doing pods. I think it does kind of make sense, kind of helps rotate, but I think they want to rotate through the schools quicker. In the pod system, you do it every 3 years. I think if you do like a 4-5-5 model in a 16-team format, you do it every 2 years. But does the SEC want to play non-conference games? That's a story for a different time frame. In this one, we're talking about the group and 14. I like the idea of 14. I think 14 is a good number. You can do a 3-5-5, make things easy. Rotating, maintain your core rivals and still keeping the other rivals within earshot, where you can take them on every two years. So if a recruit stays for a 4-year program, they play everyone twice at least. If they're there for 3, at least get everyone once. So beyond that, so we'll kind of start this off with the Sun Belt. It was on the 14, where they are going from Marshall all the way down to Texas State. Wow. Sorry, Texas Tech. Didn't mean to demote you there for a minute. Texas State, because, Lubbock and San Marcos are not the same areas. Anyhow, between, like I said, Marshall and Texas State, this is a huge footprint for them. They actually compete with 2 other conferences in their group, the Conference USA and the American, to the same geographic footprint. I hate that concept, but that's just how the college landscape kind of unfolded. But Sunbelt's in the more prime position. You look at Coastal Carolina, you look at App State, Louisiana is that pushover. Last season, you had Troy and South Alabama doing really good. James Madison their first year. Would have made it, I think, a conference championship game if they were eligible. So the Sun Belt's in a very good position where they're at. And for them to go to 16, I think it's 2 schools that I think have been floating out there quite a few times. And I know one school, Sun Belt's kind of tried to bring into the mix. They're fit right in with some of the schools already in that general area. And it's one that keeps telling them no. I think it's Chattanooga. I think Chattanooga would be a good addition to the Sun Belt. I immediately start doing rivalry games with Georgia State and App State because they're generally right there in that general area. Gets them back into Tennessee, which I think they might want to get back in there. But like I said, this is a school they've been kind of courting for a while to kind of stretch out the footprint a bit, go back to familiar territory. It makes perfect sense. Now the other one may draw some ire from some people, because I think Sunbelt Park should go into Texas and at least get a partner for Texas State in there, like State of Austin, Lamar, or even Tarleton, possibly. Something. Give them one of those schools there to kind of give them someone close, in-state rival. Much like the Louisianas have it, and the Alabamas and the Georgias, the Virginias all have an in-state rival. But I think they'll go to a school that also stretches the footprint a bit, and one that's kind of, mentioned it in a previous ploy to get the conference, during the conference realignment. That's Missouri State. Now, Missouri State was rumored kind of go to Conference USA, or at least not rumored, but there was whispers that Conference USA was coveting Missouri State. Missouri State says, no, we're looking for a Sun Belt invitation if we are going to move up. So they kind of shot down any MAC possibilities or Conference USA possibilities. And I decided to put Missouri State in this instant anyways. They're right there in the southwest part of the state in Springfield. It used to be Southwest Missouri State back in the day, and they dropped to Southwest, much like Texas State used to be Southwest Texas State. And it kind of, once again, stretches the footprint, gives them a new territory to get into, mimics the SEC a bit, which I don't think they really want to, but that's what it looks like. But I think that's for them. That's just stretching the footprint, give them two decent programs from the FCS, move them up. They're not going to rock the apple cart too much, but still gives your power players in the Sun Belt a chance to really kind of showcase themselves a little bit more. And I think they can actually work in this particular aspect. Then I'm just go ahead and move up north and we hit the MAC. Now the MAC, their core 12 will stay the same. There were rumors floating around, whispers, whatnot, innuendos, theories. Throw your word in there when the American made their huge jump and the Sun Belt made a grab, that the MAC was circling Conference USA and eyeing Western Kentucky and Middle Tennessee. With Middle Tennessee stated that they're staying with Conference USA, and that pretty much saved Conference USA for that time frame and kind of thwarted the plans of the MAC to go south, to kind of stretch their footprint south. Now for the MAC, they have two outliers with Buffalo and Northern Illinois. They don't really have anyone next to them to really compete. But I know the MAC also has a desire to want to go south. So you're kind of at the dilemma here, trying to figure out who you're going to go after or whatnot. One school has always been kind of associated with MAC expansion is Eastern Kentucky. Eastern Kentucky is right there in that footprint for the MAC. It gives them into the state of Kentucky, gives them a little bit of southern exposure. Decent sized stadium as well. Should very well try and establish a rivalry with possibly Ohio or Miami, Ohio, whichever southern Ohio program you want. And once again, gets the MAC in South because they used to have Marshall twice even, and they left both times. I don't see Marshall coming back for a third trip, but I think getting to the South is what the MAC wants. If you can't get Marshall, Eastern Kentucky, I think, is a good option as well. Now from there, that's where things kind of get a little iffy. To get up to 14, I think they will also take another ASUN member, another Southern member, again, and go to Austin Peay, which then will get them to Tennessee. Then Eastern Kentucky and Austin Peay can have a rivalry game going. Austin Peay could probably take on like Ball State, Northern Illinois. And I think that type of aspect can actually kind of benefit the Govs in this particular aspect. So get to 16, and that's where I kind of, once again, I'm scratching my head. Because I want to go out west and put schools in Illinois into the MAC to kind of help balance out the landscape a bit. I also thought about putting Albany to give Buffalo an in-state rival. I was not going football only, so I was not going, throw in like Army and then throw in another New York State basketball school or non-football program like Binghamton, just to name one. I wasn't going to do that. I wanted to go full membership, and Albany I think makes the best option, but I did not go that route. I decided to get both schools, two more additional schools in Illinois, to kind of make Illinois a three-state program for the MAC, much like Michigan is, and then brought in Illinois State and Southern Illinois. It gives you the 3 points in the state of Illinois with the North, Central, and Southern. Many videos before, I've also mentioned Illinois State being added. I know Illinois State's had some success in the past. Recent Southern Illinois does the same thing. So, two viable programs, I think, in the state that can make a decent jump into the MAC, and Pirates should find themselves in the middle of the standings. Even though I will concede that Albany probably should be considered in here as well. You could probably take out maybe Austin P, maybe one of the Illinois programs, but which one you take out? That's the bigger question. So, I know this one's not perfect, but I'm kind of going with this one. And it looks, keeps the MAC footprint pretty much close together. I don't think they're going to stretch themselves too much out, pretty much like, the Sun Belt. They're going to stretch themselves too much. They're not going to be this coastal elite conference, but they're going to at least, get themselves a nice footprint in their geographical area and start from there. So let's go out west with the Mountain West. And with this one, the Mountain West, they lost some powerhouses with San Diego State, Boise State, Fresno State all get moved up, also losing UNLV. So they lost definitely some marquee schools. So what does the Mountain West do? Well, first, they're rating other conferences. So this is the first group that's going to rate other group. First on the docket, I think, would be New Mexico State and UTEP. Now, New Mexico State and UTEP staying in the conference today, getting New Mexico State to join, really helped them out, give them a good rival game in conference. Saves them money, so they only gives them one rival game out of the conference to worry about, and that's New Mexico. Now, have all three of them the same one, that frees up a non-conference schedule to schedule other teams. And plus, now with the Mountain West being more of a mountain time zone type of conference, with the outliers being Hawaii, San Jose State, Nevada. This would be more advantageous for them because they're all in the same time zone. But I know the UTEP wanted to go Conference USA to get more exposure for East time zone, more Central time zone schools, especially with the rest of the state of Texas. But then you look at, you got El Paso one side, and where Sam Houston's at, that's on the eastern side of the state, and El Paso's on the western side of the state. That's a long-ass drive. If we're going from El Paso to San Antonio, is a long drive. Because ain't nothing out there. I know. I drove it. But, so they might want to look at something a little bit more closer, bringing in having New Mexico State still with them, bringing New Mexico as well, and raising their two key rivals. All in the same, plus UTEP has a lot of familiarity with New Mexico, Wyoming, Colorado State, Air Force in the days, the old WAG, so it makes sense. Additionally, they'll go to the American. The American already got hammered already in this one, but I think the days of the American, as we know it now, are probably in this scenario are numbered. And a few schools are going to see the writing on the wall and go, you know what, we're going to go out and just go west. There's that many Western programs left in the American due to the expansion of the Power 5 in my scenario. Here, Tulsa and North Texas will make the jump, will make the move over west. That way UTEP still has an in-state rival, North Texas and Tulsa can still maintain their, create their rivalry going. And Wichita State, the non-football program, will also join to even out the Mountain West in basketball. Now, I really doubt this one. I think Wichita State will probably go someplace like, they may stay with the American, or they go like the A10 and be like the 16th member there. I don't know. It's just, I don't see this one as a high priority, but I put them in here just to fill in the hole. And because I kind of see more like a Grand Canyon or Seattle getting added than Wichita State. That's just me. But in this scenario, going Wichita State, just kind of, backfill Hawaii. So Wichita State and the Navy were the combo in America, and here be Hawaii, Wichita State. So that gives them back to 12. Now going to 14, and I think going after these next two programs, well, first I kind of back this up. At this present point in time, the Montana has stated they're staying in the Big Sky for this time frame. I think later on they may consider, making the move later on, but in this scenario, we'll get the MAC. If we can just go to 14, the Mount West will go after two other programs. One's been a dominating force in FCS since they arrived. They've been a dominating force in D2. And the other one's on the program's on the rise. They just recently won the national championship for the FCS over this other program. It's bringing North Dakota State, South Dakota State. In other words, I think this is just two programs that need to make the jump up. I personally think they're more suited for the MAC, but with them being the outliers in the MAC, let's throw them in the Mountain West, give them more central time zone schools to go along with Tulsa and North Texas. Also, there might be outliers in that one because you got to look at the Dakotas and Hawaii. That's a huge travel cost, but that's only during football season. So I think they can manage that with the little extra money kicked in from the conference. I think they could be viable. I think a lot of people kind of see that because it gives them more power into the conference that they lost with Boise State, San Diego State, Fresno State. You bring in schools like North Dakota State, South Dakota State, kind of help bring that power level back up. And they get to 16. This is where the Montanans come to play. I think eventually these two programs will make the jump to the Mountain West. Why they haven't yet, I don't know. Maybe they like being in the Big Sky. I don't know. But I think Montana State also being added in here also adds two more power programs to this conference, and then they'll be on the same power level, if not greater than the Sun Belt, once all the schools become eligible. And I think it'll make the Mount West and the Sun Belt the two premier group conferences. So it leaves me with two conferences left, the American and Conference USA. What I'm going to do with these two? There was rumors circulating around last time with Conference USA before they started this aggressive expansion in FCS that they were done. But all of a sudden they grabbed Sam Houston and Jacksonville State, two programs I didn't think they would ever grab. I didn't think they would move up because they were just starting the ASUN and the WAC conferences for football. And there were key pieces in that. But I guess, getting a little extra money for Conference USA was enough to entice them to move out. Also grabbing Liberty, as well as New Mexico State at that time frame, really helped bring those two independent programs as full members. Helped them out, kind of stabilized the conference, and then they now recently grabbed Kennesaw State. So Conference USA looked pretty viable at 10. For the American, you look at this prospect, they got rated pretty hard with all the big-time programs gone, Memphis and South Florida and SMU and Rice, they're all gone. You had Tulsa and North Texas leave. Navy's looking at this conference like, yeah, this is not the conference it used to be, and we're just going to go. We're going to go back to independent status, form a mini alliance with Army, UConn, and UMass, so that way they all play each other every year. Gives them some games slotted with each other, kind of makes scheduling for their other opponents a little bit easier. So now the Americans down to 4, so they're going to start looking at other schools. Now they're going to start looking at metro schools, is what the American did last expansion. And for the looking at Conference USA, that means FIU, that means Middle Tennessee, that means Kennesaw State. The Pirates will go after Louisiana Tech, getting a little bit bigger name one, in Western Kentucky. They start looking at those aspects, looking at FCS level, trying to see who they can pull up from FCS. And the thing I think the brainchilds from these two conferences kind of see what's going to happen, and they decided to merge. So what's left of the American and the 10 members of the conference USA were merged to create the 14-member and still fall under the American moniker. One, because I just like the name a little bit better. They could just merge and just totally rebrand themselves. I can see that one happening as well. Just go, okay, we're the Eastern Athletic, and we'll just go from there. But that gives them the 12, and, 12. Wow. So grab the 14. I think they will also go to the WAC and ASUN. This is like a favorite topic in terms of this one. Grab Stephen F. Austin, Central Arkansas. Give them more of the Western aspects of this conference. Kind of makes sense for Sam Houston, bring in their old rival in. So the Bearcats and Lumberjacks can go at it once again. Old Southland clash now in the American. Central Arkansas is familiar with these programs as well as Louisiana Tech, so they can reestablish the rivalry with Louisiana Tech from the day of the old Southland. And I think it'll be very viable. Now, to get to 16, this is where things kind of get a little interesting, because previous videos I've always taught at Delaware going to the American, but since now with this conference, adding Delaware may still be viable because you have Liberty right there. Maybe they also go up to Albany. Possibly. Maybe they try to grab another Virginia program like in William & Mary or Richmond, or they grab Western Carolina. Maybe go after Furman, Sanford, Mercer, some of those other SoCon schools. Maybe they grab McNeese out of Southland or Lamar. I mean, those are some possibilities, but I went with the continuing to drain the ASUN and the WAC of their football programs. I was grabbing Tarleton and North Alabama. Like I said, Tarleton is the program that's been spending a lot of money on athletics. It's been brought to my attention in previous videos. And adding another Texas program. I mean, Texas is a football-rich state, so why not? Same thing with Alabama. Alabama's not a football-rich state, so let's put another one in there. Doesn't really hamper. I mean, you already got Jacksonville State and UAB, so why not add a third Alabama program? And in this one, you already have Sam Houston, CF Austin. Let's bring in Tarleton. Gives you a new area. That's west of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Gives you a little bit, different market to kind of, go after. But like I said, there's other programs I think could be a little bit more viable in this aspect. Possibly. It's hard to determine which FCS programs will make the best fit for each conference because everyone has their favorites of who they want to move up. And I get that. But, that's my scenario. I've included, the maps of where these guys go, what my schedule will look like for the 16 teams. Just let me know down below what you think. Like I said, this is just my opinion. Viability-wise, probably not really going to happen. There's really a thought experiment kind of have, what could possibly happen in a different future. Let's put it that way. There's so many things that have to come into alignment for this particular scenario to play out the way that it is here. And it's like winning the lotto. You never know. You just never know. It could possibly happen, but the probability of it happening is probably slim to none. Let me know down below. Like I said, what schools do you think probably make a better choice? Do you like the idea of me merging Conference USA and the American, or you rather see those two conferences continue to be, viable conferences and just have a huge FCS addition to them? I think them merging and then limiting the number of FCS programs kind of helps save the FCS. And now what FCS do is a limited invasion of D2, and they do a limited division rate of D3. You don't want to cause too much of a huge domino effect, ripple effect. Kind of keep it simple. Trim down a little bit of the FCS. Have them grab a couple more programs. There you go. That's just my opinion. Be nice and civil down in the comments below what you're down there. Make sure you share this video with your friends and family. It helps promote the video out. You can also hit that thumbs up once again. Once you subscribe, make sure you click that bell icon and turn on notifications. Let you know next time I post any more content on my channel. And I will see you next time on Chat Sports Talk.